Hello and welcome to the shop. Today we're going to use some new tools from Baxter Tools to tackle a fun little project that my mentor Mark Sillay calls a Doozy Whopper. A Doozy Whopper is a small hollow form like piece that's got a foot, it's got a finial, it's got a body. It looks like a miniature vase, but it's not actually a hollow form. It's all one piece when you're done. It's very, very pretty. It's a very easy project to do, and it tests your skills. But also, you're working in a small size. It came about because of a challenge to make something that wasn't a bottle stopper out of a bottle stopper blank. And this is what Mark came up with. And in fact, Doozy Whoppers are part of how he has recovered from several strokes by making these miniature pieces. So we're going to see if we can take it on. First thing we want to do is take some bottle stopper blanks. These are box elder. They're dry. They've been sitting around for a long time. And we want to drill them. You take one-way Talon chuck with the one-way number one step jaws and put a 3/8 drill bit in the chuck. And then you've got nothing in your tailstock. That allows the drill to pass all the way through. So all you need to do here is bring your tailstock up a little bit, lock it down, hold your blank, and I don't have quite enough travel. Don't have quite enough travel in my Laguna tailstock, so we're gonna have to back that up. Bring it in, and the drill bit will actually just pass right through the blank and into the Morse taper hollow of the tailstock. Back that out. Easy peasy. We'll do several. This project actually works really well if you make multiples. If you bang out 5 or 6 bodies and set them aside, sand them, get them all the way to finish, and then set them aside, and then come back and make feet for all of them, and then make finials for all of them. Next is a new tool, new to me, and that is the light pole drive or center from Baxter Tools. It's on a Morse taper, and it's 1/4, 1/8, 3/8, and 1/2 inch, and our little 3/8 inch hole just fits right on there. We'll bring in our live center with a 60-degree cone, and we've got a nice solid purchase on our little blank between centers. Oh, we've got a little character in this nice little piece of box elder. We're going to go ahead and shape it. We've got it round, so we're going to go ahead and shape it and make our little hollow form. That's not a hollow form. It just looks like a hollow form. And there we go. We've got this little hollow form. We've got some striking features, some good color. We're ready to sand. That was quick. Note, pretty easy. This is such a good little fit with our light pull drive from from Best Wood Tools that I actually could pull the live center away in order to sand the top here. So that's a good, nice, solid fit. Not a problem. Good friction right there. That's a really nice little friction fit. That makes things pretty easy when you're trying to sand and you want to make sure that the top is good. And then got the top the way we want it. Let's make sure the bottom is the way we want it. Now it's crooked because I didn't push it all the way down. I didn't seat it. So let's seat it. Look at that. And we could actually get it back between centers. So if necessary, there it is, dead on. For sanding, you've got a good jam. You bring tail center up and make sure that it's aligned, and that is dead on. Just as straight as when I turned it, even though I've reversed it. Just a little feature, something to think about if you choose to use this little drive center. Chuck. I've got a leftover piece of ebony. A friend of mine bought a box of ebony pen blanks and gave them to me. And these make great feet and finials for small pieces like this, especially finials. I should have a piece of 1-inch African blackwood somewhere around here, but I'm not sure where it's at. This is just a piece from my bucket O cutoffs, and this will make a perfect foot for this little piece. But you might want to, just depending on the proportions of the little Doozy Whopper you're making, there's several different ways you can go with this. This will work. This will work for this little shape that we've got. So the first thing we're going to do is actually make a 3/8 inch tenon on here and then shape our foot. Foot's a really quick little part of this project. We'll go ahead and make sure we're rounded up. And that's a lot more wood than we need. But just for giggles, we'll go ahead and just make a long tenon on there. So you want to set your caliper at 3/8. Beading party tool works really well for this. There we go, that's about the right diameter right there. You got a little thin there. We'll peel that away. Double check our fit. Not bad. And we can take a look a little bit at shape and proportion and see, oh yeah, we're going to have a fun little foot here. So this shape, this works, but you want to consider size. This is a little thin for what you might normally use to make the foot. For this particular shape, it's going to work just fine, but pay attention to that. And that's going to be the bottom of our little foot right there. That's ready to sand. It's really that fast. I'm going to show this to you in real time. That actually goes super quick. We're ready to sand it. We're not going to worry too much about this up here as far as sanding is concerned, because we do want to have some friction, but that's also going to be glued. But we'll sand this up real quick. You can start it at 400. If you're making good clean cuts, you can start sanding at 400 here without really much problems. So 400. And we'll hit it with 800, and then we're going to polish it with triple E. And hang on, I'll tell you the name of the product. Now, 3/8 of an inch is significant because it fits in the jaws of that Talon chuck. That's why we're using that measurement. So I will say this foot for this shape is going to work, but it's a little narrow. It is a little tiny bit narrow. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but you just want to be aware. So this is Triple E Ultra Shine. It is a wax-based friction polish. Try not to get it up here on the tenon. And voila. So the foot is done, with the exception of the bottom of the foot. And again, 3/8 comes into effect because we're going to part that off, flip it around, and turn the bottom side so that we make sure that our little top-heavy Doozy Whopper will be able to sit flush on the table. So we'll get right to there. Especially with pieces this small, you don't want to part that all the way through. Little thin curve pull saw is perfect. Take our little pen blank out. That is centered, that's dead on. Tighten that firmly, not too tight. You don't want to crush it. And we're working very, very tiny, very small. We're going to make very light cuts, so we shouldn't risk pushing it out of the chuck. We want to undercut this very slightly, just like that. Take a tiny bit more off. .400 grit. .800 grit. And if you want to polish it, you can. It's not really a necessity. This is going to be sitting on the countertop or wherever, so it's not really something that needs to be taken to a high polish. But there's the foot. And actually, proportionally speaking, with the shape that we made, that's actually pretty good. That's not bad at all. There's the foot of our Doozy Whopper. And we have plenty of material left that we can go ahead and make a tenon. So what I should have done was put another 3/8 inch tenon on this while I still had it in right after I parted it. I didn't do that. So to save time, the step to do would be to go ahead and cut that tenon first. So just think about that. I skipped that part. But if you're making 8 or 10 of these at a time, if you're banging them out for, you know, because there's a little $60, $70 piece that you can sell at an art show and people love them. They're small, they're beautiful, and they're affordable. We'll just come back down here with our beating and parting tool. We'll do the same thing, 3/8 of an inch. There we go. Check our fit before we get any further. Pretty good, pretty good. We'll take it. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about design. You can see here that we rolled around and have a curve, and with the foot, we came around and have a curve. When those two curves meet, you get a seamless transition. You can't tell where there's not a seam. It meets and it fools the eye into thinking that that connection is absolutely perfect. It could be crooked, but if you have what Mark Sillay describes as ball-to-ball construction, where you're coming, two curves are joining each other. When they meet, they're going to form a perfect meet here. So we want the bottom part of our tenon to either be undercut to fit the shape of our piece, which will give us a similar illusion, or we want to make it a curve, make it a ball that's going to meet. I think we're going to undercut this one, so we're going to come up in and try to fit the inside curve to the outside of this, but when we leave it, we're going to roll that corner, that edge, so that, again, you end up with a ball with a curve meeting a curve, which is going to help to disguise, or not necessarily disguise, but it's going to help to make that joint look smooth. All right, so we have our tenon mounted. We sanded the underside of our little ball-to-ball construction. We have our tenon mounted in the chuck, and we just brought up the live centers while we get this round and began to roughly form our finial. Make sure we have a good hold because we're going to take that live center away pretty quickly. So we want to make sure that's not going to go anywhere. At this point, the live center needs to go. Now at this point, we need to sand this little part, and then we can't touch it again. So we're gonna hit that at 400 and then 800. All right, next is the polish. Once we get the rest of our finial done.
voila. A little bit more sanding.
Tell you, this project, these little forms here, the Doozy Whopper, is really, really a lot of fun. It doesn't take a whole lot of time, but what it does do is very, very important. It exercises your capabilities. It pushes you to the limit of tool control, tool use, design, sanding, finishing. You really have to push your envelope in order to make a successful little piece. And when it's all said and done, you get something that's a lot of fun, that's very attractive, that sells, and your skills have improved. So there's the Doozy Whopper. Thanks again to Mark Sillay, who taught me this, who's taught me a lot about tool control and finishing, and with whom I've spent some time learning to make the Doozy Whopper. And it's a random name, but it's a great name. I'm never going to not call it a Doozy Whopper. But Mark used this little style of form to to recover from a stroke and get back on the lathe, which is amazing. So check it out. Again, the drive center from Bestwood Tools is definitely useful. You don't have to have it. You can actually make your own. You could turn one out of oak. But this is really useful. It saves you a little time, and it's going to be exactly the same over and over again. So check that out, bestwoodtools.com. Thank you, Vic, for that. It's useful. It's going to get used a lot. It's a neat new piece of kit, new tool to have on board. There's a lot coming, folks. I'm excited about where things are going here on the channel. You can also check me out on other social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and actually have a TikTok where I stream live turning very often. So do check it out. Follow me on all the socials. And I appreciate you being here. And if you would like, here on YouTube, look up Mark Sillay and learn about wood slicing and his techniques for turning little tiny finials and things. Watch the videos, their demonstrations that he's done in clubs across the nation. It's very, very informative. You will learn a lot, and your technique will only improve. So do check it out. Thanks for joining me, and remember, just one more pass means put the bowl gouge down.